Welcome to episode 66 of the OVW Podcast, the unofficial podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling. My name is Jackman Oaks.
And I'm Brian Hines, and with us, as always, is the disembodied voice of our producer, Tiny Brian.
You may have actually seen some of my embodiment there at the top there. Sorry about that.
That's very embodying.
Today we get into all the action from OVW TV 1313, emanating live from the legendary Davis Arena at originally on October 10th, 2024.
But first, we want to welcome the creator of Ghost Agents and host of the Deep Dive on LRS102.com, Mr. Rocko Jerome.
That's me. I'm Rocko Jerome. Is that camera on?
It
That
is.
one,
is.
yeah, that one right there.
For those of you listening on audio, he did give us his best, most winning smile. Check
The
that out on
mostest,
YouTube.
biggest
Yeah,
grin
man.
I think we've ever had on here.
The key to a good smile is I've had my picture taken a bunch of times. I used to work for some lifestyle magazines. Had to get my
I'm not
picture.
going to ask which lifestyle.
Just the lifestyle.
Okay.
You know, the leather daddy lifestyle. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Sure.
And like, you know, I get my picture taken
Tom
a lot
of
of like
Finlandia.
society. Yeah, I'm glad that you know that. It's funny. So that. I would get my picture taken a lot at like society events and stuff. And the key to a good smile on camera is you got to have your mouth agape a little bit, like almost like Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
It feels kind of unnatural at first, but like
Yeah, see
that's
that.
a good smile. My teeth, the two rows of teeth are like half an inch apart, but on
Right.
camera it's nice. Look,
It's a nice smile. It's a nice smile.
It really is. It's winning. I feel one.
yeah, see.
I
Let's
thought
get-
that you were going to say that the key to a good smile was teeth. But,
I mean, it helps. You know,
well,
I don't want to insult any wrestling fans. Out
Well,
there.
sure. Neither do I,
Oh,
but
wow.
it helps.
Got him.
Rocko Jerome's been on here 2 minutes, and he's already turned heel.
Hey, look,
Zing.
man, you know, I mean, I want to talk about that, man. Faces, heels, man, you know, I'm just a guy who's out here trying to have a good time, you know?
Same way as any of us. So, Rocko Jerome, you're a multi-hyphenate. You
Yeah,
are a
right.
DJ. You write comic books.
That's true.
You're an OVW fan. You have a comic in circulation right now called Ghost Agents.
Ghost Agents is my comic book. It will always be my comic book for as long as I'm alive. I'm going to keep doing it. I call myself the writer and producer of this thing. And the latest one, as you'll notice, has got the one and only Freya the Slaya on the cover, the
Friend
front
of the
and
show.
back.
Mm-hmm.
Inside cover, back cover as well. Ghostagents.net. Figure it out from there.
If you are
Whenever you're watching this, ghostagents.net will be the direction to go to get yourself one of these. If you don't live in the Louisville area, if you do live in the Louisville area, they're at the Great Escape. And I don't want to get too far ahead of what you're about to say.
No.
But there's a party on the 28th of October, 2024, that's going to be at Zanzibar. Come on by 6 to
that a bar in
That's
Louisville?
that's a Monday?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. That was the only day that it's close to my birthday. Freya has the night off.
Great.
My girlfriend from Wisconsin will be in town. It'll be a real special night.
That's
probably.
awesome.
I don't
And
know.
Zanzibar's a great, like you were asking, Zanzibar is a bar in Louisville. One of the great bars in Louisville, truly. One of the Zanzibar is a great
I
bar.
always have fun there.
We're
We're gonna have fun.
I've only
on the
been
28th.
there twice, and the third time I was supposed to go there, the band canceled the night before for some very unfortunate reasons that we won't get into today.
Yeah.
But Ghost Agents, as we're talking about this, I see that as an opportunity for a toast, gentlemen.
Hey, let's do it.
Hey, that sounds like a great
Woo!
idea.
All right, here's the Ghost Agents, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Clink,
Clink.
clink to Ghost Agents, fellas.
Ghost
we do have an
Agents.
audio component, so we
It's
need to hear
OVW.
those clinkings.
Nostrovia.
Are we good on the clinking?
Yeah, we clinked
Okay.
sufficiently.
Okay, good.
That's
So-
bourbon right there, Daddy.
It sure is. That's the old Kentucky hug for you.
As I was
I
gonna
do love the
say,
Kentucky hug.
if you're a fan of kind of like the acid washed late 70s, early 80s Marvel stuff, if you're a fan of like
Heavy metal?
futuristic, kind of neon laden visuals, you will love Rocco's book.
Well, this new one particularly.
Yeah.
Is, it's a guy named Ken Landgraf who did the art in this, and Ken, that's his scene. He was the creator of what they call outlaw comics.
Okay.
This guy, right?
This was when there was a comic code, and there were some comics that were made outside of the comic
Yeah,
code.
he was way outside of that, Daddy.
Oh, okay.
I'm
That's cool.
thoroughly nerdy, so
Yeah,
I
that's-
know those
But
I
things.
know the
he
comic
also he also worked at Marvel and DC to the degree that the first comic book I ever bought off a spinner rack as a boy had his art in it. He did a story where Wolverine and Hercules get into a bar fight over a woman, right? Over who's going to take this redhead home.
Wow.
And they end up, nice visual aids.
Yeah.
They end up beating each other up, and then they become friends. And then maybe some Tom of Finland stuff happened after they quit drawing it.
Yeah, who knows?
Hard to say what happened next, but like that was the first comic I ever got off a rack. It was one of my first comics, first one that was like at the gas station.
Sure.
Type deal, and now he works with me. So,
how does that feel? I mean,
my life is dope, and I do dope shit.
Hey,
dog.
that is. I told you that is.
That has been our unofficial mantra here at the podcast for quite some time.
Beautiful.
Our lives are dope, and we do dope
that
shit.
Was.
So I can definitely relate to that.
Kanye West said that to Dave Chappelle.
To Dave, right?
Before Kanye was even all the way famous,
he was editing season 2 of Chappelle's show.
Yeah.
I think
nobody was like all the way famous yet.
I was out on Kanye for a while, and then we started doing the Wednesday night show for OVW, and I was, I was feeling a little, I was in my head. I said, "There's only one man for the job right now, and it's Kanye West."
I'm not really what you would call a fan. I hope he's okay.
Oh yeah,
I'd like for him to get his meds regulated, and so
lay off the
hope
nitrous a little bit.
Probably not a good idea. He probably needs a good antipsychotic.
Yeah.
An anticonvulsant probably would be the thing that would help Kanye out. But when you're Kanye West and you can have a jet airplane whenever you want one.
Yeah, and
it's hard
nitrous whenever you want it, just eating your brain away.
Didn't know we were going to go there.
Didn't me neither. Anyway.
Suddenly dark. Hey.
Anyway.
Oh,
gosh.
You guys remember? You guys ever heard of OVW?
Yeah. Oh, that's that wrestling show up in
I love that show. It's on every
Wrestling.
Thursday. I go every week.
Let's
a lot of weeks.
Yeah.
Most weeks. If I'm in town, I'm there.
So how did you get into comic books? Let's start there.
It's like a lifelong thing, really, for the most part. It's one of those deals where it's like with anybody with comics, like the characters, you saw them in cartoons and toys and stuff. So then when you kind of figure out about the books when you're a child, it's like, oh, so this is like the next level down, or level up, depending on how you want to look at it.
Sure.
Like you're digging down and you're getting up in the, I don't know what I'm talking about. But what I do is like I said, I'm the writer and producer of this thing. I work with artists who, for the most part, are new or they haven't really, a lot of times haven't been published yet when they work with me. I've done several other books. They're all ghost agents, like we were saying. You guys were sweet enough to buy these books.
We have these we all have these in our libraries.
And you can too. Ghostagents.net, or if you live in Louisville, go to The Great Escape. That's my store of choice, like my home base.
Or come to Hot Point Davis Arena. Rocko is generally there with books in tow.
Yeah, I'm doing the business.
I dropped $15 this week.
Very sweet of you to do that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, as soon as you said, "Hey, new books are in,"
yeah,
I'm like Steve Martin, the jerk. I got to get
That's so
on
sweet.
it.
That's so sweet. Yeah. So what I generally do is I have been told. You guys can decide for yourselves how you feel about this. I've been told that I kind of have the gift of gab, right?
Whatever do you mean?
Yeah, I get going.
You're so quiet, Rocko.
We're all having a good time.
Yeah.
And sometimes
whiskey's flowing.
Artists, they're not so much as And I'm very fascinated by marketing. I like to drive sales of things, and And since it's not really my work, then I'm not embarrassed. I don't I've been accused of being this self-promoter type guy who just won't let up. And it's but it's not me. It's it's these artists, because I get them paid. And a lot of times they've never been published before. A lot of them.
Sure.
Landgraf is the exception to that. But Landgraf, we combined him with a guy named Mizimo who did the colors, because Landgraf stuff has been black and white for most of the last 20 or 30 years.
Okay, interesting.
And then Mizimo is a great artist in a lot of different ways, and he's the guy that brings those colors, like you were saying.
Those colors are fantastic,
right?
Man.
Yeah.
And it's basically, to put it in wrestling terms, it's like when Hulk Hogan wrestled The Rock, right? The Rock's doing most of the work there.
Right.
That's not to say Landgraf's not, because Landgraf can clearly still draw. But when you combine the old and the new, then you kind of get a new symphony.
And you can bring out parts of the other one that maybe people that are of the same generation might miss.
Yeah, a whole new energy, man. Pops off.
Yeah, that one page that you had as the visual aid, It felt very 21st century, but it also had like late 60s, early 70s, like Halloween costume kind of vibe.
Yeah,
where it had
like
like those kind
Ben
of
Cooper,
day glow
right?
colors. And
Yeah, you know?
exactly that.
That's my shit.
Yeah.
60s, 70s stuff. That's like my main. I kind of live in there. Most Ghost Agent stuff is set then. But I have Ghost Agent stories that are set in the far, far future. They're set in the distant past. How it works is I'll see an artist I like on social media. Like, never let anybody tell you that Facebook is useless because it's bad for you in a lot of ways. But for me, it's been nothing but good because I'll see an artist whose work I like. You know, they're just posting stuff that they make, whatever. You know, maybe they have a book out. Maybe they're still trying to figure that out. And it's like, hey, man, do you want to collaborate and get paid to do so?
Yeah.
And, you know, we'll just talk about what you want to draw and don't want to draw, and then I'll get high and I'll write that story.
I would assume for most people, you know, that opportunity just showing up in their DMs is an incredible feeling for them.
Yeah, it's fun for everybody involved, man. I can say this. Hopefully this sounds modest because I mean it to be. For the people who say yes to that, if that's exciting, it's got to be dwarfed by me like dreaming up some story and writing it, and then like months later it comes back to me drawn. It's like whenever that happens, it's like Christmas.
Sure.
It's like, hey, I got those pages, and it's like I stop what I'm doing and I look, and it's like, wow. Like, it's like a baby because it's like partly my imagination, it's partly the imagination of whoever the artist is, you know. So, but with Landgraf, I just gave him a 20-page fight scene. I was like, just draw these characters fighting for 20 pages. And I kind of always knew, well, we'll get into that, but like, I knew that at some point Freya was going to be on the cover. Right. So I wanted that extreme physicality.
And she plays a character, or portrays a character, I guess, called Donna Prentice.
Donna Prentice, who is like one of the main characters in the book. You see Donna right there and right there. And clearly also
right there.
Here.
That's
right?
Freya the Slaya there.
So, yeah, man.
That's what we call a theme.
Yeah, right? How about it? So Donna's like 6 foot something, tough, feisty, stylish.
Sounds like someone we know.
Cool.
Yeah.
Black hair, Greek in the book. I don't think Freya's Greek, but like,
She's Alaskan.
right? Like, by way of what though? You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, you don't want to get too lost in semantics on those types of things. But like, I've been working with Grindhouse for a while. Is that cool to mention, Grindhouse?
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would think so. Grindhouse is cool. LRS does, we call Grindhouse shows on the air. I've been doing that for like a year and a half.
Oh,
2 years.
cool.
It's fun. Yeah, it's cool. So like, that was kind of like my local wrestling of choice, kind of. Not because of any problems with OVW. It's just I hadn't been paying attention to OVW for a long time. So like, the Netflix show comes out, and I'm, riveted like so many other people.
Because it was
we were.
riveting.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, what have I been doing missing out on this? It's very close to my apartment, or my condo, rather. So it's like, why don't I just go over there and check it out,
Yeah.
So I did, and it was awesome. But the first time I saw Freya, I forget who she was going up against, but she comes out, and it's this, this big brazen woman, And I remember she did a big boot. She kicked somebody in the face. And I was like, that's definitely Donna. That's Donna.
Yeah.
Right? And then it's like, what I could do is get her to take pictures as that character and do a cover. Who knows what else,
Yeah.
How am I going to get her to do it, though? Because can you imagine what kinds of crazy things people say and ask of Freya the Slaya?
I could only imagine.
She brings it up briefly in the Netflix documentary.
Based just on what she said during the Netflix series, I can imagine that's the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
And furthermore, ew.
Totally
Ew,
gross.
indeed.
So I didn't ever, I
We don't
wanna,
kink shame, but don't bother women.
Yeah.
That's
I
gross.
mean,
That's
you
gross.
gotta-
That's gross.
She'll stomp a mud hole in your ass.
You got to work your way up to the questions.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Before you start asking for favors of any kind.
Yeah. How about you? Ask how their day was first. What a concept.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I would see Freya. Sometimes she would be out selling stuff after the show. So it's kind of gradually just like, hey, you're cool.
Yeah.
I want one of everything, And like that happened a few times. And then, like, I think the first time
That's the best way to ingratiate yourself with a wrestler, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Just go straight down the merch stand.
That works pretty heavy-handedly for me.
Have a look around this room.
Well, yeah.
We don't even have as much as we used to.
Well, I table with ghost agents at conventions and all sorts of stuff.
Sure.
You know it, yeah. So you totally.
If you're
understand.
buying, I'm flying. You know what I'm saying? I like to just think I'm nice to everybody, try to be. But like, if you're buying stuff from me, like, you had my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
And
that kind
shortly thereafter, my money.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's sweet. It's very nice. So I was like, I friended her on Facebook, which that was like the second time I saw her, and she suggested that we take a picture because I had her shirt on.
Right.
And I was like, well, that's nice. I'm glad that, because it's like anything, like with wrestlers, any kind of public, whoever, it's kind of like, what's the hurdles that you have to overcome to make friends with them? And I've been fortunate to make friends with a lot of people I admire over the years. But I sent her, after we became friends on Facebook, somebody made her on WWE
2K?
Y2K.
Yeah.
Or 2K.
2K24.
I'm showing my age when I say Y2K.
Make sure you turn your computer off before midnight.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, I remember
right?
those days.
So Jericho held on to that for a long time. So I sent her videos of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, look, somebody made you. And she was like, oh, that's dope. So that was kind of like, okay, now we're kind of talking. So it was like, all right, so I have this comic book.
Right.
And then it was like, my memory is, you kind of have to ask her what her takeaway of this was. But it feels like it was maybe like 2 months of like, if I can see her and give her these books, because these books are dope, man.
No, they are wonderfully produced books,
Right?
full color.
I work with great
books,
artists.
Great books.
Yeah.
So I knew that if she saw them and put her hands on them and smelled the newsprint, that she would be sold.
Mm-hmm.
And saw how much the character resembles her. So it was just a matter of getting there with it,
Right.
So one time after a show, I was able to like catch her and be like, "Hey,
I've got some comic books. You want some comic books?"
Once she saw them, she was in it.
That's dope. That's amazing.
And that was cool. So the photos were shot by a guy named Matt Simpson, who's a friend of mine. He's a very good photographer, also a wrestling fan. So it was a big deal for him. He was excited to be able to, get to do that, and just. Life can be crazy, man. I'm a very fortunate person. I mean, I'm standing there. She's dressed like this character I made up.
Mm-hmm.
She's got a katana,
Yeah, it's
taking
amazing.
Hell yeah.
pictures.
That's just good times.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just stick with it, Like,
So yeah,
stick with life.
Life is dope when you let it be, man. It really is.
Yeah, you live like I'm turning 46 this month, and it's like, things are pretty cool right now. It's being around, getting my reps in of life.
Rocko, we're gonna have to have you back down here for a longer form interview because I feel like we could go all day. We haven't even scratched the surface.
I'm
yet.
with it, man. I'm trying to keep it brief.
But we do have business.
But
to
let's
get to
talk.
here.
Let's talk
All right.
about last Thursday's show. Do we have an ad?
Let's hold. First of all, let's talk about a little tour update.
Okay.
There is
friend.
so there is business to do on that end.
Okay.
I'll do it. I'm
Yeah,
sitting
perfect.
Why don't you do it?
here. Every Thursday you can see OVW Rise and OVW
Sorry, guys.
OVW Weird Chiming. Overdrive
Yeah,
and
sorry, that was
Rise
my water
both are filmed on Thursday nights every Thursday for Hot Point Davis Arena. There is HotCon, which is the OVW's triumphant return to Pike County. Little known fact, I am from Pike County. That is at Pike County Central High School, October 26th. Bell time on that is at 8 p.m. And we now know, gentlemen, the next OVW pay-per-view. That is OVW Reckoning, November 2nd, live from iconic Hot Point Davis Arena. We will be there. You should be too. And if not, get it on pay-per-view.
I reckon.
And all of that and more is available to you at OVWTix.com.
I
It's
knew
TIX.
I knew you were going to do this.
What?
So that's why I'm prepared. I mean, you just completely blew past the Hell Night Trunk or Treat.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about that.
Really?
You know
I mean,
he's not missing
you-
out on candy over here.
Yeah. You know what
Rocko,
kind of
this
Halloween,
man loves candy.
You
Do we
know what
get
kind of
candy or is it
Halloween
just for the
dork I
kids?
am. I think that you can bring your own. I think everybody brings their own. But if you want some of their candy, maybe they'll give you some of theirs if you give them some of yours.
If you dress in a trench coat and you act like you're 3 kids stacked on top of each other,
that's a guarantee.
you can get triple the amount of candy.
Yeah,
like 3 dolls.
I do think we will open up the OVW Podcast mobile vehicle that we, my Lexus that we take every week, my beat up old Lexus.
Humble brag much.
Yeah, it's a 2008 Lexus with a secondhand fender and
I was just thinking
bumper.
yesterday. I still think of a Lexus as being like a nice car.
Yeah, Lexuses are nice.
It is a nice car.
I think of a Lexus as like that's nice.
it's nice enough to get us back and forth to Davis Arena every week. I don't complain.
It's like
I love a Lexus.
It was super nice.
It's the Shake Shack of cars.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's not the best, but it's incredibly
Shake
good.
Shack is, as far as burgers go, the best burger.
I forgot. We did have this conversation.
Yeah, we did.
About how
Huge fan.
we have one in Lexington. You do not have one in Louisville
Right,
yet.
but we're still talking burgers.
Right.
I'm not talking about a Mercedes. I'm talking about a Lexus.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, they still have commercials at Christmas with a big, ribbon
with the
top
bow
of it.
on top of the car. Yeah.
Whoever that is. Sorry,
So,
I just
Hell
derailed
Night is
that.
Halloween
Apologies.
night, which is a Thursday this year.
Yes.
So it perfectly coordinates for OVW.
And there is a trunk or treat.
Yes, we will probably bring up some candy or something.
Well,
or,
hey, what is this probably bullshit?
I mean, yeah.
There
I'm
is
gonna
no
bring
probably.
Brian.
Bring candy.
I would have to beat you with a stick to keep you from bringing candy.
What
I'm
kind
not
of
a pinata.
What kind of candy you bringing?
Full-size Snickers.
That's aggressive.
Okay, you said that, not me. My go-to is usually the Reese's.
The Reese's.
Full-size
I'm a
Reese's?
Reese's guy because that's for my old man.
They're a problem for me, man. I can't have peanut butter in the house. It's like I can't handle it. I eat too much of it.
Yeah.
When one of my earliest memories is they gave me a bucket of peanut butter, man, and a spoon.
Yeah, they did
And I
that
called
to
it
me
peanut
too, and I
butter on
never
a
recovered.
And I just walk around and just chow down on peanut butter.
Hey,
Oh, yeah.
that's good protein, man.
So yeah, let's get to Roz from last Thursday, but throw us to commercials so I can start talking again.
We'll be back right after this.
Hey guys, this is the OVW Podcast executive producer Tiny Brian here, as I was just 15 seconds before, but here to tell you that the OVW Podcast is now open to opportunities for sponsorships. Do you have a small business? Do you have an online business? Are you a wrestling promotion? OVW fans, they go watch wrestling. They watch it live. They watch it around here. Our markets. We have fans in Louisville. We have fans in Lexington. We have fans all throughout Kentucky, Indiana, and Ohio.
And beyond.
We have fans in Finland.
We sure do. Well, and we have some officials who actually work for some of our administrative details there as well. But that's on Wednesday nights. But seriously, we have the Wednesday show. We have this show. We are open to sponsorships and ways that we now need we need some help. So if you like what we do and you want to try to turn our listeners into your customers, just reach out, DM us directly on all of our social media. We are at OVW Podcast on all the on Instagram and Facebook and Threads and X. And if you direct message us on any of those, we will be happy to speak with you. And so yeah, come on out. We're ready and we want to help you. And now we go back to the OVW Podcast, already in progress.
Yeah, that's the greatest thing about that, man. It's too bad none of that was on camera, but what we were just talking about was awesome.
Yeah.
Man.
Good times. Summer camp. Yeah. All right. We start here at the top of the show
That's usually the best way.
I found that usually works best.
Where kind of everyone from the OVW locker room has joined together at ringside.
Now, isn't it? I was talking to another wrestling fan friend about this earlier today. It's always kind of awesome when you have a bunch of wrestlers together like that.
Oh, it feels like you're in your toy chest.
Yeah, and it's also like it's always some sort of a special occasion. Right?
Yes.
Like when do you have usually it's like after 9/11, not a happy situation.
Right. The SmackDown after 9/11.
The angle where Mick Foley got fired and The Rock gets everybody together to force him to reinstate.
Yeah.
Like having all the faces in one place is always cool. And for me, I think
that happened the night that Vince McMahon bought WCW. They were all out
right.
at ringside.
Yeah, like you get them all together, like to give them bad news and they're all kind of pissed, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, you got that feeling. Now, I personally, not to make this all about me, but here I was in Ramp Side B, which is where I am when I have a friend that doesn't usually go to wrestling.
Mm.
If that's not the case, I'm hanging out with Keith Silva over in that section.
Yeah, we see you over there.
That's the Silva section. So I go back and forth between those two, basically, depending on who I got with me. I had my friends Travis and Nolan with me. And when everybody came out, I had my Leather Daddy Doug sign,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Which, I don't know, have you guys commented on?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Alright.
yeah.
Either I or Mason Jenkins created the phrase Leather Daddy Doug. We're not sure.
We're pretty sure we said it on the podcast, too. It may be one of those
Really?
convergent evolution
It was in the
things.
air.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it
All
was
right.
right there.
I do
so-
remember
I
hearing
remember
it from
looking-
you first.
Okay.
To be honest with you.
All right. Well, I made that sign.
So I think we said it,
At that-
Jackman, the week you were off a few weeks ago. I think Brian and I it came out of.
Yeah, because you said it, and I remember thinking,
Oh yeah, that I did.
boy,
I
we're
did
going to
miss
hear
one.
all about that. I'm sure we're going to get the private messages regarding this from the real somebody or another
or his cousin, but
or assistant. Yeah.
but you know, no.
I got it over. All
Yeah,
I'm taking
no.
credit
Leather
for.
Daddy Doug.
No,
is,
you
is
definitely
over.
got it
That's
over.
I made the
Yeah, for
sign,
real.
and that made it
and
happen.
I don't listen to the show if I'm not on it. So you guys might have come up.
That's fair. You know, I mean, there's a lot.
So-
There's a lot of things competing for attention all the time.
Well, yeah.
So all the faces are out there, and I'm shaking the Leather Daddy Doug sign,
Mm-hmm.
and Shira is like looking at me like betrayed. You know, 'cause that's my buddy Shira. You know.
I don't. He's such a gentle guy, but whenever he's
Sweet
out
man.
there in the ring, it's business. It's just all
Yeah,
business.
he was just
Yeah.
looking at me like, "Why would you do that?" And Haley, I don't want to give anything away, but Haley said, "That's pretty funny. It's a funny sign."
It is. It's
And
hilarious.
Freya was like, "You're lucky I like you, or I'd rip that thing up." You know.
So,
But here's the thing: is Leather Daddy Doug?
That doesn't feel like you're in support of him with that.
Who knows?
That
Let me tell you,
feels
man.
mocking.
Let me tell you, man. I'll do this. I'll do this. I'll do this.
So,
You know, I don't know what I'll do next.
Yeah.
I'm an agent of chaos, Daddy.
uh,
I'm not. Am I in the revolution? I don't know. Maybe right now I am.
everyone, make sure to watch the video this week.
Praise
Yeah,
Jesus,
go to
man. Hail Satan. I don't know what I'm saying.
I'm not
Rocko,
the
bro.
one in the cage, man. You're the one in the cage.
Yeah, dog. You know, I'm liable to do anything.
I have to tell you, Rocco, as a University of Kentucky fan for a lifelong, you know, they do the R, and that's close enough to the L that I do love to put the R's down because I also like to put the L's down.
Yeah.
So that I love that they have now kind of given that same, because Louisville is a town that'll do the L's a lot around their sports programs.
Yeah.
So I love that they've kind of synchronized it.
When they're not sharing dip spit with each other, they're
No, that's
doing
Tennessee.
doing the L's up. Oh, I'm sorry, dip spit mixed with Royal. What's that? Crown Royal.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Is that a real thing? What are you talking about?
Oh, that's I assume that's what they serve at all the bars in Louisville on game day. But I
I
don't know.
only watch pretend sports. I don't know. I don't know what's happening.
You know what? My life did get a lot better when I took a break from real sports and only started to watch pretend
I
sports.
can dig it.
My life got
I can
a
dig it.
lot better. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie.
So yeah, Leather Daddy Doug, man, he calls himself that now, and it's like, wow, man, wow, you know, that
He seems
feels
to
good.
go back and forth between being mad about it and being happy about it. I can't quite
I
decide.
feel like that says something psychologically, like there's some kind of underlying thing, but what do I know?
Maybe he's
I'm not a
like,
trained
he's a
professional.
tormented cat, you know. He's
Could
like
be.
he's like the Joker. You know, he's having a hard time with it.
Yeah.
I mean, he went out and spent hundreds of dollars on that outfit or
At least.
outfits.
At
Let me
so-
tell you, man, if you're going to Leatherhead in Louisville or one of those places, like, yeah, that's not a cheap suit, man.
No.
No, and he's just one punch away from the Leather Barn card where you get the free thing, you know.
Is that a real place?
Yeah.
What do you got? Like a ball gag or a
I don't know. I mean, I don't
some
work
sort
there.
of cod
you get
piece.
a you get a free wristband.
I
You got
I
a
applied
leather
and they
wristband.
didn't like call me back for an interview or anything.
Oh,
That's too bad.
I know.
Did you? Is your resume up to date?
You know what? Maybe you can help me with that.
I can
afterwards.
take a look at it. I can
Okay,
take
yeah.
a look at it.
All
I'd
right,
love for you to
good.
get a job at the Leather Barn.
Yeah.
or
Yeah, the
whatever.
Leather Barn, they're really stringent about that stuff.
Yeah.
You gotta have the right credentials, you know.
And their urine test is not at all what you would think it is.
They just don't leave the door open for anybody.
all right.
Anyway, Leather Daddy Doug, thank you. Or I'm sorry, or you're welcome, depending on how you feel about that, I guess.
So then we see David Vox Mullen in his like crypto bro lair.
Yeah, he really does look like he's going to threaten Batman from there.
No, he kind of looks like he's hanging out with like Martin Shkreli. Like,
Well, we know he's
I didn't know if that
OVW.
one would stick. Thanks for humoring me.
Well, we know he's with OVW because he has an OVW logo on his desktop.
That is true.
His wallpaper is OVW, so
Okay.
that's how we know he's official.
I gotta
So,
say,
yeah,
so
that's
far
legit.
you are like on top. Like every reference I've tossed out that I wouldn't know for sure if you would get it or not. Tom of Finland, look it up or don't,
Or don't.
or don't. Martin Shkreli just now,
Martin Shkreli, yeah.
and then also the Kanye thing.
Oh,
Like, that's like you and I are like paying attention to those same things.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm old, so.
I
don't
am
get 'em all.
too, dog. You know, I'm old.
and I actually,
I've always been old.
for what it's worth, I have a tattoo of the Velvet Underground and Nico album.
Oh,
on my that was my
dude,
first
what? Are
tattoo
you
when I
kidding
was
me?
18.
Yeah.
I was hungover
Ah.
and bled like a stuck pig, baby.
Buddy,
but
we got to pick out the furniture, man. We're gonna take this.
Yeah,
to
you guys are
chapel.
getting China patterns and
Yeah,
his
man.
towels and shit.
Yeah, Rocko and Jack.
So
Yeah.
before
So-
you guys wander off to record your bonding video, let's start out with David Vox Mullen.
and like I said, Rocco, you're coming back anytime you want.
Cool.
Let's start with David Vox Mullen. He says things such as OVW is allowed back in the locker room,
Yes, the
And-
locker room comes back to the locker room.
and that Doug Basham is
Under
under
review.
investigation. Yeah,
Under
review. I
review.
think review. Right is the word that he
Yes,
used.
under review.
Interesting. I think what OVW is doing right now is a breath of fresh air compared to maybe some of those super factions from this time last year, where these guys are seeing real time repercussions for their actions. It's a very different story than what they were telling with like the Overmen or the faction.
Yeah. Things come together and break apart and then come back together in different ways every week.
Yeah, let's move right ahead here.
Yeah.
To I don't know, our first match. What are we doing, guys?
Yeah, the first match.
Well, I mean,
Well,
we
Zach-
hadn't even gotten that far yet. They said that the OVW locker room is actually allowed back in the locker room.
Mhm.
Doug throws a fit, throws everybody out the side door one last time because he can, so they can all come back in through the front door and then go into the locker room.
Right.
Right.
And that is the end.
Because they
of
got to have
that.
the draws to get in the
And
locker room.
on the way out, the only one who wasn't allowed to go out through the side door was Mr. Zachary D. Pittman III,
Right.
because Leather Daddy Doug had a problem with him.
Now that guy, he's not a wrestler, right? What's he even doing?
He's a
out there?
photojournalist.
Yeah, it's,
Our
he's-
fellow, he's worked with us a little bit.
Yeah.
And he's a fine fellow OVW
what was he even
journalist.
doing out there? If he's not a wrestler.
That's a good question. I don't know.
He was he broke the story.
He broke the wind on the story.
He broke the story.
Yeah.
And storyline.
Well, you can't blame Leather Daddy Doug for not wanting that guy around. you
No,
know?
he's a whistleblower.
Also,
Although,
I mean, you don't go to like the locker room unless you're invited. That's one thing I know about wrestling for sure. you
Well,
know?
and like I've often compared the revolution to like any fascist movement, and you can't have honest journalists in fascism. You just can't. Like that's not how it works.
we're getting heavy. On
Yeah,
this.
he goes there. It's a whole
heavy,
thing.
man. Wow.
I mean, wrestling. I'm a big believer in that. Like wrestling is as smart or as stupid as you want to make it.
That's valid.
You know,
Yeah.
so if you're pulling in stuff from real life, like that is what it is. These guys are an ideology that supports ever expanding and supports nothing that doesn't agree with them. Right? That's fascism.
They got a cool thing you can do with your hand.
Yeah, they got a cool thing they can do with their hands. It looks good on a T-shirt. That's really like the key to.
One of the things I think is cool about the revolution too is that now they have a T-shirt, but
Yeah.
initially it was like, make your own.
We don't
They-
care.
Go buy something that says revolution on it. There's
Yeah,
a lot of
just
things.
whatever.
Yeah, that Welcome to the Revolution T-shirt that
And
is
that's-
on Amazon. That's
Yeah.
just
And all
who
of a
knows
sudden,
what that's actually
whoever made
for.
that shirt, they're like, for some reason, there's a bunch of sales coming out of Louisville.
Yeah, in Louisville, Kentucky, we really maybe we should start a brick
Yeah.
and mortar store here.
We're crushing it there.
Well, and it's been fun, man. It's fun,
Oh no,
like,
it's been
being
a great
in with those
bit.
guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it's like it's just it feels cool to it's that same childish thing of like you're hitting like puberty and you're like I'm a rebel now.
Right.
Yeah.
Does that hurt your feelings?
I
You know?
never went through that. I really don't know what that was.
You're still in the middle of that.
You
Man.
might be going through that right now, Jack.
What do you mean?
We love you.
I'm
but
wearing flip-flops.
You
That's the
certainly
least
are.
punk thing you could do.
It's true. It's a valid point. Yeah.
And they have flowers on them, so.
But also somehow the most punk rock thing.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, see, I like you, Rocko.
Yeah.
I like you get it. All right, let's
So Zachary
the
gets
world
put
blow.
into a punishment match with Battleborn Leo Fox.
But he's looking like really swole Pac. in this.
Minus the ears. I mean, we had this talk the other day. You know, Pac's got some like satellite ears.
Yeah, those
you can
those
pick up sounds
cauliflower
from deep
ears.
space, but
They're also just big ears.
yeah,
You know, he's got
Yeah.
big cauliflower ears.
yeah.
One thing to have big ears anyway, and then also to get them cauliflowered over.
Yeah, like
It's like, wow, dude.
if Will Smith was a boxer, over with for
Right,
him. Yeah, he's
He'd
lucky.
He'd hit us all with his ears. Yeah.
Took some
But Leo
rounds.
Fox does not have that. So
No,
Not yet.
just a standard guy. Apparently, the newest member of the Revolution.
growing
And,
ranks in the Revolution.
Yeah, Doug gets him to come out and teach Zachary D. Pittman III a lesson about, what you should say about the Revolution and what you shouldn't say. And, I mean, it's obvious this guy is no wrestler. He's a journalist, and this
Mhm.
guy is just, throwing him around the ring like a rag doll, and then, he rolls outside
And then
of the ring.
ZDP
and-
comes out of nowhere.
yeah, he
I
rolls
love
outside of
that.
the ring, and then
Super
he's
Z,
just
Super Z,
gone.
Super Z.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
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 Don't
Yeah.
worry. The
No, don't worry.
commentators
On
make
this
that same
Super Z.
announce.
On this one, we don't do kayfabe all the time on this one, so it's fine.
Well, I ZDP, man, I saw him when he was in, like I was saying, Grindhouse,
Mm-hmm.
and he was always one of the best on the mic. I mean, he was
Really?
always, yeah.
So is it
He
like
can cook.
for you?
He can cut a promo.
Seeing him somewhere else are you a little? How do you feel about the booking of ZDP when you recognize him as this like
Guy who can cut a
microphone
promo.
guy?
The
Yeah.
Detroit Devil, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Was it that character, or was it one that he had spoken to us
I
about
don't
off
know what he was called, but he was just like, he would just like fuck with people.
Mhm.
Like he just came off like a mean kid. Was kind of like his thing, and he was very, very good at that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he kind of did both for a while.
Okay.
Which is always funny. It's like, for people in this region, Jerry Lawler, when you watch Memphis,
Of
it's like
course.
he's Elvis, and then he's on WWF, like, being a total shitheel.
Right.
yeah.
So it's like one of those deals because it's like,
But he had a
this-
cool crown, Rocco.
Of course, I love Jerry Lawler. Don't get me wrong. But like, here's ZDP is like drooling all over himself and shit. I'm like, damn, like let this boy talk. He can cook.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
ZDP can cook.
You heard it here first from Rocko
Well,
Jerome.
now he's doing the thing, and he's the reason it's so over is that he's all in on it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's
If he was lackadaisical, he's always all in on everything he does,
that is 100%.
and that
correct.
is what makes him a great worker.
That is
Yeah.
100% correct. He doesn't bullshit. anything.
Could Undertaker have been Undertaker if it had been anybody but Mark Calloway? Yes. Would it have been successful? Probably not.
I mean,
You know?
in a really lauded career, one of the most maligned moments is literally when another guy tried to play Undertaker.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
Fake
like
Undertaker,
there,
yeah.
I mean, there you go, proof's in the pudding.
There you go, man.
Like right there. So no, we love Zach around here.
Anyway, ZDP came out of nowhere, and then it just became
Once
a
again,
total shit
Super
show,
Z.
Oh, Super Z. Sorry. I mean Super Z.
Yeah. So Super Z, comes up, gets some
Comes
comeuppance
to save the day
for Zachary D.
for
Pittman.
Zachary D. Pittman, and
Who
then,
vanishes. Doesn't even
who
stick around to
vanishes.
say
Yeah, I
thanks.
know. And then, as Super Z is about to finish Leo Fox off, Doug Basham can't have that, and he pushes him off the top rope. And of course, with him being under review, known slow counter Daniel Spencer comes to the ring
That guy.
to
Personal friend of mine. Daniel Spencer.
to check on
He's a good guy. We love Dana.
Super
Me too.
Z, and it went from him being pushed off the top rope to he slipped and fell, and,
Right.
and
Doug
now
was
he's
checking
being
on him.
checked on. And if that's the case, I suspect that Zachary D. Pittman or Super Z might have a case with P.J. Jones Esquire.
that could be very well. It could,
That would be an interesting.
even with
It could be wild,
superpowers,
but
you can't. Even with superpowers, you are not above the
Did
law.
you slip and fall at Davis Arena because Leather Daddy Doug pushed you off the top rope? You may be entitled to compensation.
That sounds.
Some
I don't
people
know
have to
about
pay
that.
for that. Some people have to pay for that.
Sounds
I don't know,
litigious.
So, moving
Sounds
forward,
punitive
Lawrence and Crystal.
and false.
We see a sketch where Lawrence and Crystal go looking for Omar. Omar is being attacked by AJZ. That plays into later in the night. By the way, I do want to say right here, I had the pleasure of sitting next to Monique, Miss Monique, Luscious's mom.
That's
And
awesome.
Beautiful family, wonderful woman.
I bet she's fun. Right?
She was so fun.
Having a
and
great time.
Shout out
And-
to Luscious's moms.
to be honest, foreshadowing here, Luscious, what a night for your mom to be in the building, bro. What a night for you for your mother to see you
It's
wrestle.
pretty cool.
That was
It's pretty cool.
But we'll get into that
Luscious
later.
and Omar, man, they both lean all the way in.
Oh,
Those guys
yeah.
have both said horrible things to me.
Huh.
Don't
What about
don't
that?
get us started.
I love
Don't-
Funny
it.
story.
Yeah, funny
No,
story.
Those guys are really, really great. Like,
They are.
and they're so nice. They're so nice to us, and they always have been. But there is a podcast out there
Okay.
where
Not out there specifically.
There is an episode that we chose not to release.
Oh, wow, really?
because we
in
all
the interest of all parties involved.
Whoa.
it was not just them, it was me as
We-
well.
they
Brian
affected
Hines
us.
Brian Hines was my anchor.
I was the one who pulled that out of the fire that night.
you
I mean,
were
that never
you
happens.
were my anchor that night, and
Somehow
it was,
they got me up pouring drinks. It was a night.
Oh, we probably had about 5 shots of bourbon in 35 minutes.
Whoa, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know what you mean.
But
You ought to
or at
put
least
that
I
on
did.
Patreon or something.
Maybe someday.
Maybe one day.
It is
and-
resting calmly in the archives.
And I do want to say it was not them. I was just as complicit in it as anybody else. But we all looked at each other and said, "Well, that's never going out."
Wow, dude, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, one
Yeah.
time Omar called me Four Eyes, which I thought was pretty great.
That's good. That's classic.
That's a hilarious thing to call someone.
Yeah.
That's
in
like a very
2020.
That's
80s,
pretty
yeah.
square.
Yeah, get out of my face, Four Eyes. Like that kind of energy.
Up next, we see Ryan Von Rocket and Dustin Jackson.
Finally.
They've been trying to get this match on the road for a few weeks. Rocco, what do you think of Dustin Jackson right now at OVW?
He's a talented young man.
Mhm.
Face, heel, kind of always sort of. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. No, I mean, I think that's fair. I think he is definitely leaning face right now. I think he's got
At this moment, yeah.
unbelievable babyface energy, but he never really had like a. He was a heel not that long ago and never really had like the moment of catharsis
Sure,
to
right.
become a baby. So I get what you're saying. I
Yeah.
get what you're saying.
He's good in the ring. He's a good wrestler.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Sells well. He's got a good face for it.
People want to get behind him.
We did
Yeah.
a great interview with him that you should go find in our archives of our interviews.
I think
Cool.
decision here though. Dustin Jackson takes the victory over Ryan Von Rocket, even with his new music.
So can we talk about the Ron Von Rocket, the heel turn of Ron Von Rocket in this match?
I don't think it was. I wouldn't define that as an actual heel turn. He just wanted the crowd's support, and they just flatly said no.
People have hated Ryan for a long time, and it doesn't matter heel or baby.
He used to
I
be
don't
in
know
that
why.
band called the Velcro Pygmies
Is that legit?
in the 90s. Yeah, it was
I
that
didn't-
band called the Velcro Pygmies. And all the guys in the band were like muscle dudes. So
Okay.
There's my memory.
Huh.
And he really did play guitar in that band. They're kind of notable in Louisville.
Album review from Jackman.
Wow.
Coming
Coming
soon.
up.
I don't know if they put anything out. Yeah,
What was the name
I'll
of it
find
again?
out.
The Velcro Pygmies.
If
Which
that's
sounds
not a,
like it would be like an alt rock band, but they weren't. They
if
were
that's
like
not a
punk rock.
level, or if that's not a Louisville in the '90s band name, I don't know what it is.
Total.
Yeah,
Very much so,
that is a
yes.
Louisville in the '90s band name for sure.
Very much so.
P.S. has
They were
already
that
found
song.
them on Spotify.
Oh, P.S. Perfect.
geez,
Perfect.
Oh, wow.
What is the
Yes.
top track? P.S.
Let me see. That is,
Can you say it?
no.
Really?
It's 2 words. The second word is whipped. The first word starts with a P.
Pussy.
Oh,
Cream.
wow.
I'm going to point at my sign. Yes, that is the word.
One time, my gay uncle accused me of being that, and I was very confused because I had never heard him say that word before. Just a thought. That was also in Louisville.
That's funny that he called you that.
Yeah, it was really strange. I was like, I didn't. It was just really strange. It was kind of off-putting, to be honest with you. But anyway.
I don't know if it was translated on television, but at one point, Ryan does yell to the crowd, "Are you with me?" And the whole room in unison says, "No."
No,
that's funny, huh?
I've said this before. I was saying this earlier. There are a certain segment of OVW fans that attend live shows that really don't like Ryan Von Rocket, no matter what package he's in. This goes back to even when he was called Ryan Howe 5 years ago. They don't like him. I don't know why. I like him.
Yeah, I do too.
It's fun.
As a matter of fact, going back and watching this match this week, I got to thinking, like, if I hope somebody puts him into a video game with his particular like skill set of moves, because I bet he would be a fun video game character to play if I had him in a wrestling game.
He might be in that 2K, man. Somebody might have made him already.
Yeah.
We'll have to look into that.
That's
I'll write
shit
that
is
down,
crazy.
too.
I don't know if you guys are like game guys at all.
Oh,
like,
I haven't played a 2K since 19 probably.
okay.
2K19.
But you know the deal.
Oh,
like
yeah.
people make them and put them out, and it's like a lot of times you can download. Like my Crixus looks better than my John Cena.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
it's amazing how that works.
Yeah, whenever I was playing a lot, the last time I was playing a lot was, right before AEW was even like on the air. So to get my guys, I had to go.
Yeah, I
had
have
to go
AEW.
download
Like
it,
I have AEW.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I have it.
Yeah.
Like I have all the shows.
Well, and that game is that AEW game sucks. When
it looked like it did.
When we brought the wrestlers around here, we had it up and they couldn't.
That's funny.
They didn't even want to play it, and they laughed at me because my total time on it was 3 minutes before they played.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and they were like, "Oh, you only play this for 3 minutes." I was like, "Yeah, guys, it sucks."
And it was
Yeah.
quickly apparent.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. I feel like
But no, I need to get back on the 2K games.
they're fun.
I feel like I would enjoy them much more.
I think it would be fun if somebody put us in there. Like, Brian's there, and he's got like a corn dog because it's what he always gets when we stop for gas. I've got like a ridiculous Hawaiian shirt or something.
I'm checking my fantasy team.
There you go. You're checking your
Yeah.
fantasy team because that's just how you are.
Back in
during
the
football
day before the
season.
internet was part of it, like you would go to GameFAQs.com
Mm-hmm.
and spend like an hour and a half like making. I was like Taz. I had Taz in every game
That's
because
dope.
he's one of my main guys. So it's
Yeah.
like going there and be like, all right, face longitude -180, and it's like you're pressing the button to go
Like dragging the nose. Yeah.
to like make the exact face. So some lunatic,
Figured
Worked
it
out the
out.
code and told you what to go
right,
set things
like
to.
like fiddled with it so much that they like made the person and then tell you how. Crazy.
Yeah, and I mean it's insane looking back on it how much those creator wrestler features were in depth and like kind of still hold up to
Yeah.
like today's creator wrestler features. Like some of them for the technology they had are
Right. Well,
incredibly in-depth.
I mean, there is a wrestler. I can't take credit for this. I don't think I may have said this or I may not have, but there is a wrestler on the OVW roster who looks like the creator wrestler before you make the wrestler. Can you guess who it is?
Adam Revolver.
It is
That
Adam
would have been my guess.
Yeah.
Adam Revolver looks like the creator wrestler before you create the wrestler.
Speaking of Adam Revolver,
Mm-hmm.
He is in the next sketch
Yes.
after that match.
he certainly is. What's that about, Brian?
Well, obviously he's pissed at Shannon the Dude because Shannon clocked him with the radio championship last week.
Hey,
so
that's a
he's-
real belt. That's a real belt.
What a detestable.
I'm gonna.
Right.
It's gonna be a real belt when I challenge him for it.
It's made out of it's covered in foil, kids. It's
We
chocolate.
should have a triple threat match. Me and you and him.
He just hides under the ring the whole time and beats both
you
of
and
us.
I, yeah, you and I just beat the shit out of each other. Pins whoever.
Street fight, man. Street fight.
I'll do what I have to do, man. You know,
Me too. And I like your so far, Rocko. But when there's gold on the line.
there's
All
gold
belts
on
are
the
off.
line,
Yeah.
man. You know.
So yeah, he's getting chased by Adam Revolver. Shannon the Dude is whether or not his
Into
championship
he
is.
hides in the women's locker room.
into the women's locker room, to which Hollywood Haley J promptly puts a stop to that and kicks him square out of the ladies' locker room.
Square out of the ladies' locker room.
Probably right square in the nuts too, if I had to guess. But what do I know?
Probably.
How are the Bengals doing?
Right now they are up 7-0 in the second quarter. There is about 13 minutes and 30 seconds left to go.
You know how it is,
before the
guys. Here on a Sunday, Brian Hines has to watch the Bengals, so
I'm Brian Hines. I am from Southern Ohio. I have been watching the Bengals for the last 42 years, and I could give a shit if they are on right now. Because
How about the
I'm going to miss
Bengals?
them.
Are the Bengals better than the Go-Go's?
See, that's tough because I would still have to go with the Bengals, but I'm always going to have a place in my heart for the Go-Go's.
That's fair.
I'm gonna
But,
go.
our lips are sealed.
I'm gonna go Go-Go's because their lead singer was the original drummer in the Germs, one of my favorite bands.
That's,
Well, I did not know that.
So yeah.
that's that record game.
Belinda Carlisle.
Yeah, circle in the sand, man.
Who would have known?
Her name was Dottie Danger, I think, in the Germs.
It's a great name.
Okay.
Maybe Dottie Dagger. Maybe I have that confused, but I think that's
Dottie
right.
Dagger's better. It has better poetry.
Yeah, I think it's one of the two though. One of the two.
Yeah.
So what's about 3, Jackman?
Crystal White, thanks for coming. And Helka Risk is a rising babyface. I mean, Crystal White is always there to like be the perfect person to take an L from anyone in the women's division.
Yep.
She's great when she does it. She looks great when she does it. She's a crowd favorite, and she's TV ready. I mean, like, what more can you ask for than someone like Crystal White who comes and brings all of the goods and can lose anytime?
I like Angelica Risk a lot.
And Helka Risk over the last few weeks is like a really prime up and coming babyface.
It's cool, man. She's
great.
crisp.
Yeah,
The
very.
first time
Yeah.
that I ever remember her coming out, she came out and she yelled, "Let's get risky!" And I thought that was real cool. So I yell that at her every time I see her. No matter where, like, before the show, like,
So you're at Walmart.
At the doctor's
if
office.
I saw her at the, chances are I wouldn't recognize her outside of her gear. But if I did, I'd be like, "Let's get risky!"
Well, and I also too have to really
Feels good.
give Crystal
Feels
White
good, man.
a little bit of more praise here because she makes an Helka Risk look really small, and you haven't seen Crystal White play like big power very much in her matches, but she takes the opportunity to use the size advantage to really come to be a big power player against Crystal White here, and or against Angelica Risk here. And I've got to give Crystal White some applause because there's been several times on this show where I just haven't, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, give the
Well, good
woman
for
her
you, man.
flowers.
So
Give her some credit.
yeah,
Give her some credit, man.
I guess we're a little over a year into Crystal White at OVW, and I'm just seeing a different side of her. I'm glad to see it.
Show some love.
Yeah.
Moving on though, bout 4.
So this would be the hour 1 main event. It is a OVW Tag Championship match between the Revolution featuring AJZ and Dalton McKenzie versus Beaches and Cream minus Beaches. So it's just Cream.
Right, he was taken out by the Revolution. Omar was taken out by the Revolution earlier in the night.
Right.
I mean, let's call it what it is. Luscious Lawrence, man.
Definitely the star of hour 1.
The star
if
of
not
hour
the whole
1.
night.
I'm going to go the whole night. If you watch one match from this evening, watch this match. Luscious put on a showcase, big baby face coming out party for him here. And, I mean, brother, I've never seen you wrestle like that ever. I've been watching you for like 5 years.
Yeah.
And Luscious Lawrence really took it away.
He was throwing down. He also put more whipped cream on Chris Runyon than I've ever seen a human have whipped cream put upon
that
him
is
in person.
3 times. That is 3 weeks in a row.
He put a lot of cream
It
on
looked
that
like a
food.
Diddy party over
He was
Once,
right
twice,
he was
cream
right next
times
to
a
me.
lady.
And then Omar threw popcorn at him, too.
there. Did the popcorn stick in the
It
cream?
did. It was stuck on, like, the back
So
of
he
his head.
ended
bad
up like
for
a
him.
Sunday by the end of the night.
He
was,
looked like,
just-
I mean, who puts like, it was a wild, like, he looked like a mess. And, like the dude behind us pointed out, he was like, "Hey, before you sit down, wipe off your seat because you also have whipped cream." And I have my leather daddy Doug sign.
As you do.
Protected me from getting whipped cream all over my
So
seat.
it was functional as well as
It was,
informative.
and it's got a lot of tape on it, so it's almost like it's laminated. It's, wiped cream.
I was gonna say that
good.
cream probably wiped off just as easy as it would off a pair of leather pants.
Yeah,
Yeah.
precisely. Yeah.
But so between
Way to
Angelica
bring that
Risk and Luscious Lawrence, who backed up the most ass?
Luscious Lawrence. That's a lot of
Do you,
butt.
do you have a Do you weigh in one way or the other?
I mean, Tom of Finland would say one thing, but the Sears catalog would say another. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Really can't wait for everyone to Google Tom of Finland later
listen,
if they don't know what it is.
Like, prepare yourself.
Because that was one I threw out that I didn't think anybody would get.
It's funny that I talk about Tom of Finland a lot to people, and it's funny because it's like
It's
It's
if
hilarious.
you know. If you know, you know, and if you don't, you don't.
it's just a funny thing to just like talk about.
Yeah, it's a funny thing that happened, and like a great.
Do you guys know what I'm talking? Do you guys know who Tom of Finland is?
Well, let's leave it to Google.
Yeah, Google it. I mean, if you're
Safe
into
search
wrestling,
on. Safe search on.
Yeah, don't let the kids.
Okay.
So let's talk about this match. So Lawrence is 1-on-2. If he can somehow pull it off,
Lawrence
he
of
wins.
Finland.
He gets the tag team championship.
No, and again, as we said, Lawrence, man, congratulations. You're up against impossible odds here from a storyline perspective, but in real life, non-kayfabe, you rose to. I mean, you should just be really proud of yourself. I know I was really proud to sit and watch it. So.
Yeah. I mean, that was anytime you're in a handicap match like that, I mean, you know it's going to be a rough night, but some nights are rougher than others. And, I mean, he was a champ.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of the
Well, he
assist
wasn't
at the
a
end,
champ.
Right. In terms of
wasn't
the
exactly
effort,
a
he was a
champ.
champ, and then they won, and then they said he was the champ, and then Doug's like, whoa,
That's what it's
maybe
all about,
this
man.
this leather's getting to me, but I think that you guys don't get the belts.
Yeah, he of course, Omar comes out at the end, helps Luscious with the victory, and that brings in where you were talking about kind of Doug's willingness to split hairs and keep the tag team championships in the hands of the Revolution.
Because of course.
it was no
It wasn't
longer
a title.
handicap
It was
match.
never a title match.
It
I mean, I don't
was.
know, like,
It,
But
it was a title match, but it was a handicap.
See, man, you liberals are always rewriting history. See, I'll say whatever, man. I'm crazy. I'll
crazy.
say anything, man.
Well, I mean, wait, have you heard about this guy on the internet? Q?
Who?
Okay.
Yeah.
Hour two.
Anyway.
Oh, man.
We kick off hour 2 with Donovan Cecil, the
I
mammoth,
do my own research.
I do my own research.
I do my own stunts.
All right, Donovan Cecil. Sorry.
versus Shira.
Who also does his own research.
Yeah.
I mean
Okay.
stunts. I mean
And
stunts.
stunts.
Yeah.
Donovan Cecil,
I
who
mean-
lifts 800 pounds before he comes to wrestle.
I mean, for lack of a better phrase, another mammoth showing from Donovan Cecil this week.
He's
I
a
mean,
powerful
last
man.
week,
Hoss fight.
Have you guys
totally
met his mom?
crushed
His
it.
mom comes.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Mama Mammoth is great.
That's awesome.
She's
right?
the
Miss
best.
Donna
Donna.
Cecil,
Miss
Miss
Donna.
Donna is
Yeah.
awesome.
She's great.
Wasn't there this week and was
Seven
lamenting it on the
students.
internet. So
But
we hope to see you next time.
But
Yeah.
Miss Monique was. So
Yes.
there was moms in the crowd.
Yeah.
We've met a lot of cool moms actually in the course of this podcast.
Yes, we have.
It's nice to make friends with the mothers of wrestlers.
Miss Curtis, Miss Monique,
Yeah.
Miss Donna,
Right.
etc.
And what have you?
I'm sorry.
Shout out to the moms from the Revolution.
and from the OVW podcast. Anyway, Tiny Brian.
So, yeah, Donovan Cecil versus Shira. What do we think of this match, gentlemen?
He did it.
Hoss fight, man.
Yeah.
Hoss fight. I guess I really enjoy what they're doing with Donovan right now, where they just seem to be letting him breathe as a single star and go against, make these wonderful showings against some of the more acclimated names in OVW. It was Cash last week.
Yep.
Shira this week. Two
Did he
of the
beat
biggest
Cash
stars you
last
have.
week?
No, he didn't.
No, but he did face
but
him.
He was up against. He's just
Oh, right.
kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's getting this opportunity
I was out of town.
after being in in the tag team. He's getting this opportunity to really breathe as a single star, and he's getting the opportunity to do it with some of the biggest guys on the roster.
That's it, dude.
And I
Literally and metaphysically.
yes, in
Yeah.
all definitions.
Yeah.
Of the
It's
word.
like the Donovan Cecil Feats of Strength tour, like just in time for Festivus season.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Right, man.
that is a Festivus tradition. I forget.
Yeah,
To
I mean,
to
we're
fight
like, what,
against
4, 6,
Shira.
7 weeks out now, and I'm sure he's got a lot of grievances with, you people. and
Wrestlers have a
we're
lot
gonna
of
hear,
grievances.
we're
It's
gonna
part
hear
of
all,
it.
all about it.
Honestly, you can feel. Correct me if I'm wrong, and you guys tell me what you think.
Wrong.
But Donovan, with his new music, with that kind of brooding, the brooding music that he's got going on now, I can really kind of feel his frustration with, the antics of a certain faction. Maybe.
Yeah. I feel like, next
What
time he
faction, you
comes
mean?
to the ring, he's going to rip somebody's sack off like a paper towel.
I mean, yeah, he's just a raging mammoth, and it's just, I'm totally here for it.
Well, and it's an important distinction too, because they were left with a choice with Donovan. Are we going to keep you kind of doing some of the same things after the tag team is broken up? Are you going to continue to do? Are you going to dance? Are you going to do are these elements of your character going to continue to exist? I'm glad to say here and glad to see here that they've slotted him fully into the kind of no bullshit babyface role, and he can be taken as seriously as a threat as anybody else can in that role. And I think that, Tuss and Chains was so much fun, but whenever that tag team dissolved, you had to go in a completely different direction with Donovan, and you had to drop those kind of silly things because he just wouldn't. This no bullshit version of Donovan is the right version of Donovan. It's a great pivot post tag team. Right?
I don't agree with that at all.
Really? You wanted to see him doing the worm by
I
himself?
want him to dance.
I want to see.
I want to see dancing.
You want to
This
see the
one?
worm?
No, I'm kidding. I don't really have an opinion.
That's actually what we're going for here on the podcast.
I kind of like the
opinions.
no-nonsense, no-diggity version of Donovan Cecil. He's out there.
I mean, a
and he
big
means
boy.
business.
That goes back to a lot of great wrestlers since time immemorial.
Mm-hmm.
You know
Just
what I mean?
like I'm big and I'm gonna come out here and take care of business.
He's Bruiser Brody.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Like, Harley Race.
Sure.
It's just
Yeah.
like,
Yep.
what's this guy here to do? I remember Arn Anderson one time. They asked me if he had a gimmick, in his wrestling
Mhm.
career. Somebody clearly didn't know his work that well.
Right.
Like, did you ever have a gimmick? And he was like, "Son, the closest I ever came to having a gimmick was wearing a jacket. He wore a
Yeah.
jacket.
That's
Yep.
That was his gimmick."
That's the whole thing.
That's
Check out
that's
this
very
jacket.
veteran Jack Vaughn of him because
Ah,
he's
yeah,
a
right.
man of the same cloth. Yeah.
Of course.
my favorite thing was when Arn started doing his podcast, and he is just such a dry guy, and Conrad's like sitting and trying to get these stories out of him, and they're great stories, but Arn is just so dry that they end up not being great stories.
Sure, yeah.
But
Yeah, that's right.
honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way because that's the Arn Anderson I know and
That's
love.
who he is.
Yeah, it's who he
That's
is.
who that guy is.
Exactly.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe Donovan actually used Shira's move to end this match.
Oh, like
Oh,
a
what
like
an
a like a
insult.
like a SmackDown in 2003, baby. He sure did.
That's notable.
Stole his finisher.
This isn't the first time we've seen this recently.
No, that's what I was going to say.
People have been going around doing it, pressing L1 and R1 at the same time,
He better knock that off.
being able to steal the finisher.
It's like Freaky Friday for finishers.
Did you see the Freakier Friday trailer?
What?
Did you see the Freakier
They're
Friday
doing
trailer?
another Freaky Friday. It's freakier now.
Is Jodie Foster in it?
What?
Yeah. No. Is it Jodie Foster? That's not Jodie.
She was in an old version.
it's,
of Freaky Friday.
She
that
was in the
from,
original version.
Our generations. No, this is the Lindsay Lohan version, I think.
Oh yeah.
I thought Lindsay Lohan went to prison
Maybe she did.
For a
for,
while.
for manslaughter.
So did Robert Downey Jr., and
don't
he's
know.
just fine.
He went to prison in Lexington, Kentucky, as a matter of
Oh,
fact.
I didn't know
What?
that.
Really?
Yeah. We used to have a thing called the Narcotics Farm out past where we go when we drive to Louisville.
Really?
And, Robert Downey Jr. Spent some time there in the 90s, I
Well,
believe.
I'll be snookered.
Yep.
didn't know.
That's sweet.
I will say this about Freakier Friday. I saw a Lindsay Lohan Christmas movie a couple years ago, direct to Netflix, and I thought she was really charming in it. So I'm very much looking forward to Freakier Friday. Rocco, what are you thinking about that?
I have no opinion.
Okay.
So, Rocco, what do you think
I'm
about?
glad, I hope she's okay.
I hope she's okay.
Whatever,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
What do you think about Doug Basham having a little private meeting with Freya the Slaya at this point in the show?
You know what, dude? That
Doug
was
Weinstein.
one of, I have to say, that night was one of the crazy, that was a wild night of my life. Because the comics,
Right here.
they came
there.
that
Which
day.
which comic are you talking about?
Right.
You're talking about Ghost
I'm
Agents?
talking about Ghost Agents.
And you're talking about ghostagents.net?
Ghostagents.net.
Right.
Or if you're in Louisville, go to the Great Escape.
On
Or
Bardstown Road.
If you go to the show, come see me and you can get it
He's an easy guy to find.
from me. I'm very easy to find. I ain't hiding from nobody.
Ask him; he'll tell you.
I
will
think we
tell you
need to
that.
give that ringside B or the ramp side B a name, like the pit or something, because it's always like where things are going on.
It is popping. It is popping. But man, like, I don't know if you guys talk about Overdrive or what, but like, the pre-show.
That's
Like she came on first, and like, everybody over there, we all had our comics, and like when I handed her stack of comics, she was seeing them for the first time in person. Like,
Oh, that's dope.
that was already really awesome. And then like for it to be this big angle night for her, and she's obviously getting a push. As JR likes
A
to
big
say.
old
The
push.
push. And she's doing cool shit, man, and she's looking good, man, and it's very exciting. It feels like everything's kind of firing on all cylinders right now. And
Right.
I'm really having a great time.
And especially coming out of 8 weeks off, having to cobble together somewhat of a congruent storyline to get us to the biggest show, one of the biggest shows in company history,
Sure.
and then really working backwards, in all honesty, to make everything make sense. It really does. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun these past
I would
few
agree.
weeks.
And I mean,
Masterfully told these
OVW
stories.
is well booked. It really is.
It's always like as I've said in the past, like it's always so sound, like it's always so textbook. There's some things you can complain about, but ultimately you can't. Like, it's the example.
Yeah.
Like it is the standard.
Right.
Like it might not be for you, but it's
Well,
always booked to the standard.
And and like nobody else is really doing that.
Right. Yeah.
Like I guess maybe NXT kind of.
NXT is probably the most congruently booked of the big brands.
Of the big
Yeah.
brands.
Did
But
you
like
notice
OVW
NXT stole?
Yeah, let's get
OVW?
into that. I'm glad you mentioned that because we haven't been told that on the show. Have you noticed the new XT logo and how insanely similar it looks to the OVW
it's
logo?
funny, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, what do you know about that?
Well,
If not for the fact that, I mean, the docuseries reached a lot of people that don't normally mess with wrestling.
right.
Right.
A lot of people have been coming to Davis who I'd categorize, and I mean this and not as like derogatory a ways. It sounds maybe like hipsters.
Mm-hmm.
Like my ex-girlfriend I saw she came a few times, and it's like she wasn't into wrestling
Right.
remotely, but she watched the show.
That was the cool thing to do.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
and it's now over a year on, so it's like I don't know about now, but like WWE could do worse than reaching some of that Netflix. They're going to Netflix, obviously, but like some of that audience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like,
Well, and
All right,
I wouldn't
guys.
put it past them, is what I'm getting at.
I hate to do this. We're at 67 minutes. Let's roll along.
Oh,
on the,
we're
let's stick to the
already at
script.
67
roll it,
minutes.
Patty.
Yes, we
Come
are.
on.
So
Wait,
let's get this.
is the computer going to catch on fire?
I don't know, but let's try
try.
to get this.
We're on the
let's-
last page of notes.
Okay.
All right.
So let's stick to the notes for the rest of the episode,
I
shall
was
we?
talking to you, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Hollywood Haley J versus OVW Women's Champion J Rod. This is one that we had circled as potentially a match of the week.
Yeah, I thought Hollywood Haley J was going to win. I believe that you had other ideas,
Yeah, I did.
but we ended up being both wrong because Freya, being Freya and being on a warpath, came in and stomped a mud hole in everybody's ass, laid waste to everything, and then went and was in Rocko's comic.
Including J Rod.
Yeah,
Like
and-
choke slammed.
Yeah.
J Rod's
Haley.
cool. You notice J Rod always makes this face?
That is a J Rod face.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the face she makes, including when Freya the Slaya was chokeslamming her.
Yeah,
She made that face.
so Freya comes in, runs roughshod, and Helga comes in.
Looks like she maybe was going to join the revolution.
Right. A lot of
Did not.
I think both of the interferences here raise the question: oh, are one of these women going to join the revolution? But I think
Freya's Freya, man.
right. She doesn't need the revolution.
Queen of the North.
She might not want to be around them much anyway these days. But and she's getting a push, like you said. She's in a great place,
It's in a comic
and
book.
she's in a great comic book.
Yeah.
Ghost
The
Agents.
hottest thing going right now at OVW.
The
The top baby face.
I think where
The
we're
most important angle.
where we're going is a 4-way at the pay-per-view, would you say?
We've got 3 weeks to pull that together, so we got a lot of work to do if that's what it's going to be. But yeah, you absolutely could be right. It could be Angelica versus Freya versus Haley versus J-Rod.
I would like to see it. I'd like to see it.
That would be great.
Get a lot of people on the card that way. Everybody a paycheck, and it'd be a great match.
Maybe we'll have an interesting match or two on Hell Night with the old spin the choice.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
we've still got a
Thursday night spin the choice is where it's at, man. I'm ready
we
for
have
it.
weeks to talk about this thing.
Yeah,
we've got a variable
69
minefield.
minutes now.
We've got a variable minefield over there.
Yep.
Let's talk about, speaking of interesting choices, a babyface Adam Revolver versus Tony Evans.
In the interest of wrapping this up, it was cheater versus cheater, and the cheateriest cheater cheated to win. And I never thought that I would be like, hey, Adam Revolver, that's awesome. But really, it was kind of cool to see, somebody outfox superior Tony Evans at his own game and get De Niro all pissed, and that caused the ref to get distracted, and then he comes and takes the win, and it's just, nice to see a case of turnabout as fair play as far as that
I was
goes.
confused as to who was who in that match. They both look so similar.
Everything was so pale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tony Evans and De Niro.
Tony Evans is the one with the tall guy.
I like to call the two of them. I like to say that they're like the Penn and Teller of OVW.
Yeah.
I don't know why that.
One
hasn't
of
gone
them's a
over.
talker. One of them's
Well, they
silent.
look like
yeah.
Penn and Teller too.
Well, yeah,
You know?
that and kind of like Jay and Silent Bob.
Reverse
kinda.
talker who talks.
Right.
Yeah.
But Penn and Teller.
Teller's supposed to be in the
Never
new
works.
Paul Thomas Anderson movie, I think. So I'm gonna go see that.
I don't know who
I'm
that is.
definitely go. Definitely.
That doesn't.
Boogie
that's
Nights.
not
You do know who
OVW.
that is?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Licorice Pizza.
Licorice Pizza. Yeah.
The loaded baked potato glove once again fails Tony and Jay.
Yeah, it kind of. I mean, I made this point before, and it's not as consistent of a downfall as I thought it would be. But we're seeing a less and less powerful loaded glove. We're seeing a less and less powerful loaded glove, and that kind of confuses me. Why there's not a little more strife between Jay and Tony over that?
Well, clearly they're using like low-cal sour cream.
All right,
I can barely taste the difference.
let's get into our main
Right?
event.
You
shall
wouldn't
we?
know if I
events?
didn't tell you.
Our main event, Tiny Brian. What is it?
It is a 2-on-3 handicap match. Cal Hero and Cash Flow versus Mount Kadeem, who is our OVW Heavyweight Champion, Tony Gunn, who is our OVW Media Champion, and Star Rider, who is our OVW Rush Division Champion. If either Cash Flow or Cal pin one of the champions, they become the number one contender for that championship.
That's a great stipulation.
That is good.
It's a great stipulation. Like we
That's
were
good.
saying, like textbook booking. It's always tight.
Got very
it's always
invested as a result of that, automatically.
tight. I think that Cal and Cash are kind of your best two baby faces to go up in a 2-on-3 match, a stipulation match, where the odds are against them. Cal Hero always wrestles so well from the bottom.
Oh yeah.
And
That's just
He's
who
what
he
they call a
is.
power bottom.
it's different, but yes, I can see what you're saying. Not my type, but I can see what you're saying. What did you think of this match, Brian Hines?
Well, another handicap match. We thought that the odds were going to be evened before we really even got into it.
Yes, yeah.
That
was glad to see that's not the case. Though.
That was not the case. It still held out to be a 3-on-2 OVW disadvantage in this situation. Cal and Cash both did great. They both, went out there with all the heart that they do every other week. This is the first time we really get to see. I mean, we've seen Star Rider quite a bit extensively over the course of our tenure as a podcast. We've seen Tony Gunn quite a bit as far as our podcast coverage is concerned.
We've had both of those gentlemen by this very
we have
studio.
had both of them on. We've had 4 out of 5 men in that ring on, and we have not had Mount Kadeem. We got to see.
You're right. He would be the odd man out here.
He would be the odd man
Have you
out.
seen Star Rider without the mask?
We have.
I can't
Is he
confirm or deny
Finn
that.
Balor?
I don't even know who that is.
Wait.
So
Yes.
He is Finn Balor.
Wait,
Confirmed.
he's just saying that to be nice, but if it was, I wouldn't tell you anyway.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay. because that's just how I roll.
He's better looking.
Finn Balor's a handsome man.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Star Rider, though, you got to see him without this mask on.
I'm pretty sure Jackman's lying, but anyway, let's move along.
I've seen him without the mask. He's a good-looking cat.
Yeah, there you are.
All right.
I do think.
Well,
as
anyway,
you were
that's the
saying-
show. Pretty much.
Yeah, that's the show. So,
Thanks for having me on.
He is
All right,
once
see you
again
guys.
holding up his comic book for those of you listening on audio.
yeah, as you said, lots of heart from Cal Hero and Cash. That's why they're kind of the perfect two people to go up against, in the 2-on-3 match. They do not end up taking the victory. The Revolution stays super strong. I'm very much looking forward to, though, seeing Mount Kadim in more singles action.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've seen him maybe, a half a dozen times on Rise?
I'd say that's fair, yeah.
Going back the last 4 or 5 months, the matches are usually pretty short because he's a big dude and he beats some ass. So we really haven't, we're talking maybe like 15, 20 minutes over the course of 6 months.
Yeah,
Chopped up into tiny bits.
probably. Yeah,
so,
that's very
yeah,
fair.
I
Very
would
fair.
very much love to see him be one of the big men fighting champions. And, if you got that gold around your waist, lay waste to everybody else. Show us why you got that. It wasn't just a fluke.
He
Come
doesn't
on.
have to show you anything, man.
Well, please. I ask
The
please.
Revolution doesn't owe you anything, man.
Okay.
Also, let's book Star and Cal for a singles match.
That'd
Let's
be
book
pretty
Star and
exciting,
Cal
yeah.
for a singles match. Just
Okay.
saying. I'd like to see that based off of what we saw here tonight.
That'd be cool.
Um,
Fanny pack.
on the way out here, Rocko Jerome, multi-hyphenate,
Yes.
ghostwriters.net,
Quite a.
ghostagents.net.
Yeah. Right.
Sorry.
I don't have ghostagents.com. Somebody beat me to that. It's like $2,000 to buy it from GoDaddy.
Jesus.
That's
I
a lot of
know,
money.
but that's part of it. And there's a Star Wars comic now that's called Star Wars: The Bad Batch, Ghost Agents. And
Yeah,
it just what can I do about it?
yeah, because they'll bleed you dry in court.
I
You
can't do
really,
anything.
You can't really do
Yeah,
anything. They're
they're-
going to come after you, actually.
They're
But I
technically
have-
Disney now, so
Right? Yeah. But I have GhostAgentsComic.com.
Where can we find? So that's ghostagentscomic.com, ghostagents.net.
Right.
If
you're in
social
Louisville-
media, so
Right.
in Louisville at the Great Escape on Bardstown
Right.
Road,
And if you're in Louisville, also the 28th.
Zanzibar,
Zanzibar,
6
6 to
to
12.
midnight.
with
Come
Freya the
by,
Slaya.
Meet my girlfriend, who is not Freya the Slaya. Hang out with Freya the Slaya.
Right, important.
Have some drinks. Play some pinball. Be merry. Wish me a happy birthday. I'll be 46.
Zanzibar, one of the great bars in Louisville.
One of the
I
great
am a bar hound at Zanzibar, one of the great bars in Louisville.
They have my cousin's old Evil Knievel pinball machine.
That's dope.
Oh,
that
that's
belonged
awesome.
to him.
That's
dope.
awesome.
Social media, where can we find you on social media? Is that a thing you do?
Yeah, I'm Rocko Jerome everywhere. Rocko with a K, just like Liza with a Z.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
after my heart with that one.
Right? Telling you what, man. You and me, baby.
I know. I feel like
BFFs.
this is about to be a different
You guys
podcast.
watching this magic happen with me and Jackman.
Hans, you
all,
want to get
all
us out of here?
78 minutes of it.
Let's go. Let's get out of here.
Well, let me open my notes.
I also,
here.
while you're doing that, it's a Kickstarter too.
Oh,
You guys know
yeah,
about
perfect.
Kickstarters? I
Yeah.
got a Kickstarter because this isn't the only one of these. There's another one, same art team, also
Okay.
with Freya. In this one, Freya and another agent called Max Almond take on a gang of hippies that have been doing drugs that turn them into werewolves.
Okay.
It's the plot of this one, if you want to call it that.
I don't like hippies very much, so this is right
Well,
up my alley.
they get smoked.
Good.
All right.
Yeah.
And then in the new one, Donna goes to Studio 54 and accidentally does angel dust and hallucinates.
That sounds like an after-school special.
Anyhow, yeah, you'll see it all.
Ghostagents.net.
The OVW Podcast, the 10th Carney Award nominated and unofficial winner of the Ohio Valley Wrestling, is produced by Blacklight Moon Productions at Nut House Studios in Lexington, Kentucky. The OVW Podcast broadcast team is Jackman Oaks and myself, Brian Hines. Our studio engineer and editor is Malachi P.S. Woodard. Executive producer is Tiny Brian K. Woodard. Senior
That's me.
producer for The Blimp is Victor Anderson. On Wednesday night, catch the OVW Podcast team as we host the OVW Fan Zone, an OVW fan talk show on OVW Video Networks where fans talk back. After watching wrestlers on Netflix, visit OVWpodcast.com/podcasters to find all episodes of our Unofficial Wrestlers After Show. Be sure to subscribe and like wherever you get your podcasts. Rate us 5 stars and give us a review. Pretty please and thank you in advance. You can also
really
follow
helps.
us at OVW Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, Face,
That's what they would call it on
TikTok,
Degrassi.
Threads, and all the way to the Hot Point Davis arenas.
Love you guys.
Love you guys.